See, I love the post that kind of goes around on social media where it'll be like kind of like the thoughts going through a dad's head where it's like, I'm not providing as well as I should be, but I'm also not spending enough time with my kids. I'm letting my fitness slip. I'm very driven and I want to be as good as I can possibly be at whatever I'm currently doing. And I think the danger, like one, that's a great place to be, but I think it's also dangerous because sometimes we're not present with where we are. Trying to spend time with your wife and you're also thinking, boy, I'm not spending enough time with the kids. And it's just this constant battle that we're wrestling with. And then we kind of miss out on how good it actually is.
All right, everybody, welcome to Stronger Weekly, brought to you by Purist Nutrition. I'm your host, Jesse Karajat. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got a real treat for you this week. This episode features an interview with Ben Barker. He is a massive content creator and founder of the Fit Fathers Fellowship, which is a growing community of Christian dads committed to leading their families in faith and in fitness. Just had an awesome conversation with Ben. I've had a lot of people on this show. I can't remember a time that I prayed together with a guest before we actually hit record. Really felt like I connected with him just on a deep, deep level, just as a man that takes his health seriously and just is really committed to being a great father and husband and friend and follower of Jesus. So I just love the conversation. I plan on keeping in close contact with Ben over the years. You may know him from his tagline, or one of his taglines, which is helping dads become, quote, the neighborhood alpha. The content that he puts out in the world, I really encourage you to follow him. It's just informative around fitness and nutrition. It's inspirational, and at times it's absolutely freaking hilarious. You can find and follow Ben at Ben Barker Fitness on Instagram. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's also got a podcast that I checked out called the Fit Fathers Fellowship. It's awesome. Most of his episodes are pretty quick. You can get in, get inspired, get some information, and get on with your life. So definitely check out his podcast as well. Our conversation was wide-ranging. Of course, we covered fitness protocols, nutrition, supplements, but we also talked about our faith, our marriage, and how we show up every day trying to be the best version of ourselves. So awesome conversation. If you want to jump right to that conversation, you can check out the show notes and do that. But as always, we're going to kick off the episode with this week's health and fitness headlines. All right, let's be honest. You're probably not a professional athlete with a personal chef and unlimited recovery time. If you're like me, you're hitting the gym at 5 a.m. before work or squeezing in training between meetings, just trying to stay consistent while life keeps throwing you curveballs. That's exactly who Purist Nutrition was made for. Purist keeps it simple. NSF-certified supplements with minimal, clean ingredients that actually taste good. No artificial ingredients and no proprietary blends where you're guessing what you're taking. Just premium actives like CreaPure, the purest creatine on the planet, whey isolate protein that is US sourced and easy on the stomach, and hydration that keeps you going without all the extra sugar or sodium. Whether you're a parent juggling kids and training, or just someone who refuses to compromise on quality, Purist Nutrition fits your routine. Built for tomorrow, science-backed, tested and trusted by athletes, and most importantly, effective. Visit puristnutrition.com to see the full lineup of quality supplements. That's puristnutrition.com, because your nutrition should work as hard as you do. All right, if you are lying in bed right now listening to me while scrolling the news and other things, we need to talk. A new survey from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine found that 38% of U.S. adults say using their phone or tablet to read the news before bed makes their sleep worse. And only 14% of Americans say they never do it. So a lot of us are doing it, me included sometimes. This term is doom scrolling. We might have heard it. Mindlessly consuming negative news or anything for that matter, often late at night before bed to unwind. And it hits younger adults the hardest. For those aged 18 to 24, the number jumps to 46% that are currently doing this. So Dr. James Rowley from the study, past president of the Academy, put it this way, quote, "Blue light, especially when combined with emotionally charged content, can tick our body clocks into a state of daytime level alertness, disrupting the circadian rhythm and making it more difficult to achieve high quality sleep. The Academy recommends at least 7 hours of sleep per night and powering down screens at least 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. Their advice: put your phone in another room entirely. If you use it as an alarm, just get a different alarm clock. Chronic sleep loss does not just make you groggy. It is linked to, get this, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, all things that can kill you, as well as cognitive decline. So tonight, maybe get another evening routine and let the news wait until the morning. Next up, junk food consumed during childhood rewires your brain, but your gut can fix it. So new research published in Nature Communications suggests that eating a high-fat, high-sugar diet early in life can permanently alter the way your brain regulates hunger, even after you clean up your diet and lose weight later on. So researchers at University College Cork in Ireland found that mice exposed to junk food during early development showed lasting changes in the hypothalamus, the brain region that controls appetite and energy balance. These changes persisted well into adulthood, even after the unhealthy diet was removed and the body weight normalized. Dr. Christina Cuesta-Marti, first author of the study, said, quote, "Our findings show that what we eat early in life really matters long term." But here's the hopeful part: targeting the gut microbiome helped reverse these effects. A specific probiotic strain, good luck with this one, Jess, Bifidobacterium longum, produced significant improvements in feeding behavior, and prebiotic fibers found naturally in foods like onions, garlics, leeks, asparagus, and even bananas helped restore healthy brain-gut signaling. Lead investigator Dr. Harriet Schlalekens added, quote, "Supporting the gut microbiota from birth helps maintain healthier food-related behaviors later in life." So the takeaway: if you grew up on junk food, it's not too late. You can start eating healthy now. Be intentional about probiotics and prebiotics and eat the foods that I mentioned, and you could turn it all around. But parents, please feed your kids healthy foods. Next up, if you've been following the news this week, you've probably heard the word glyphosate a lot this week, and here's why and what's happening. So last week, President Trump signed an executive order invoking the Defense Production Act to boost domestic production of glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup, the stuff that kills weeds, the world's most widely used weed killer. The order calls glyphosate, quote, "central to American economic and national security." And it has infuriated members of the Make America Healthy Again movement, the very coalition that helped elect Trump and put RFK Jr. in charge of the HHS. So we got some infighting in the administration. So Zen Honeycutt, founder of Moms Across America, shout out moms, told CNN, quote, "I was outraged. I was actually sick to my stomach. This executive order was basically a love letter to glyphosate." Ken Cook of the Environmental Working Group put it more bluntly, quote, "I can't envision a bigger middle finger to every Maha mom than this." So what is going on? What's the concern? In 2015, the World Health Organization classified glyphosate as a, quote, "probable human carcinogen," bad stuff, causes cancer. A University of Washington review found it may increase the risk of non-Hodgkin lymphoma by up to 41%. RFK Jr. himself won a nearly $290 million lawsuit against Monsanto for a man whose cancer was allegedly caused by Roundup. On the other hand, the EPA says glyphosate poses no risk to humans when used as directed and is, quote, "not likely to be a carcinogenic." So mixed information here. Bayer, which now owns Roundup, has settled billions in lawsuits but continues to defend the product's safety. Research shows that glyphosate has been detected in the urine of 60 to 80% of the general U.S. population, including children. So lots of confusion here. Here's how to protect yourself and reduce exposure. Choose organic produce when possible, especially for high exposure crops like what, you might ask? Corn, soy, and wheat. If you use herbicides at your home, meaning you're trying to control weeds and things like that, wear protective clothing and keep kids and pets off treated areas for at least 24 hours, and always wash your hands after handling any type of weed killer. The story is not going away. There's more to come. We'll keep covering it, but keep yourself safe, folks. Next up, a major new study in JAMA Network Open finds that cancer survivors who stay physically active after diagnoses have significantly better odds of survival, and it's not too too late to start exercising. So researchers pooled data from 6 major long-term studies, including the Nurses' Health Study and the NIH AARP Diet and Health Study. They tracked more than 17,000 survivors of 7 different cancers: bladder, endometrial, kidney, lung, oral, ovarian, and rectal, and the results are striking and undeniable. So bladder cancer survivors who did any amount of moderate to vigorous activity had a 33% lower risk of cancer death compared to those who were inactive. For endometrial cancer survivors who met activity guidelines, the reduction was 60%. For lung cancer survivors, up to 62%. And here's the key finding: lung and rectal cancer survivors who were inactive before diagnosis but started exercising afterwards still saw significant benefits, a 42% and 49% lower mortality risk, respectively. So in other words, even if you weren't exercising up to the diagnosis, if you start afterwards, you can still get tremendous benefits. The study authors conclude, quote, "It is important for healthcare professionals to promote physical activity for longevity and overall health among people living with and beyond cancer." And if you're wondering, well, how much exercise moves the needle? The recommended target: 150 minutes of moderate activity per week. That's about 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Even a daily walk counts. And I'll just add to this, man, it's like when you're talking to a doctor, and especially if they're helping you navigate something as scary and potentially, life-threatening or life-ending as cancer, man, I really hope doctors start to realize that in addition to here's your medication, here's your post-discharge summary, come back and see me, how about starting to recommend people to exercise? Because these studies are coming out that are really showing like that can really prolong your life. And finally, if you've ever felt guilty for not being part of the Early Riser 5 a.m. club, science has some good news for you. Don't beat yourself up. So a new article in The Conversation breaks down the research on early rising as it correlates to success in life. And the conclusion is clear. Waking up at 5 a.m. does not make you more productive. For some people, it just makes you more tired. Why is that? The key factor here is your chronotype. I'll say it again, your chronotype, your body's natural biological rhythm, which is largely, believe it or not, determined by genetics, not effort. Some people are what's called larks, who naturally wake early and feel alert right away, and others are called owls, who peak later in the day. And most people, most of us, fall somewhere in between those two types. So for evening types who force themselves into an AM routine, the result is often actually sleep debt, which can accumulate and cause reduced concentration and mood changes over time, and it's not good for you. So the researchers write, quote, "Early rising itself does not create success. People tend to perform best when their daily schedules align with their biological rhythms." So why do morning types seem to be more successful? Because modern society is structured around early schedules, things like school, work, meetings. When your biology happens to match that structure, performance is easier to sustain. It's not that early risers are more capable, they're just better matched to their system. So the bottom line, instead of being inspired by or copying someone else's morning routine, figure out what works for you and when you feel most alert. And if you can, schedule your hardest, most productive work around that window. So Tim Cook wakes up 4:30 a.m. Good for him. Winston Churchill didn't wake up until 11. So both of those guys did okay. So don't beat yourself up if you're not a 5 a.m. person. Structure your day however it works for you and do your best. And that is it for our health and fitness headlines of the week. Ben, thanks for being here, buddy.
Dude, thanks for being here, man. I'm excited to connect.
Yeah, it's going to be a pleasure. Mr. Alpha Dad Nation himself on my show. So cool, man. So cool. You're in Arkansas. We talked about that a little bit. We got what, 3:20 your time on a Friday?
Yep, 3:20, man. Ready to rock and roll.
Let's roll. Did you get a lift in already today?
Bro, today was one of those days too. It was like I had 30. I like to lift for like 60 to 75 minutes, but I had 30 minutes today, and I just like went hard in the paint, shortened my rest periods, and just got it done.
Nice. What'd you do? What's your
today
Friday?
Was so I'm training for an Apex event. It's like basically like an NFL combine for like washed up athletes. And so today I did back and biceps, because tomorrow I'll kind of do like a dry run through the event, like 40-yard dash, broad jump, vertical jump, 225 bench press for reps, trap bar deadlifts, 1 mile run. I'll run that tomorrow.
Why'd you sign up for that? Not to knock it, but like why'd you do it?
For fun.
Okay.
It's like the men's side of the event sells out like instantaneously. And I got an email because I signed up for an interest list. And, I played football and ran track in college. So those type of events suit me pretty well and I enjoy them. And they were like, we're live. It's going to sign up quick, and just impulse decision signed up for it.
Nice. How's the bench coming along?
But just, I won't win that event. Like I may hit 225, like for 20, maybe. But like some of those guys will hit like 30, 32.
Okay. Well, 20 is probably, you're in the 0.00005% of the population if you could do that 20 times. So good on
I
you.
say 20. My best is 17. I'm
Okay.
assuming when I get there, I'm going to be ready, hopefully.
All right. Right on. And then, no, how old are you, Ben?
I'm 34, almost 35.
34. God bless you. So no worries about torn Achilles, twisted knees, any injuries like that. Nothing on the sprints or anything.
Knock on wood. I sprint pretty regularly,
Okay.
at least once a week. So I think I'm prepared for that. Like I'll go out, like I don't feel like this is I don't want to say old guy because I'm not an old guy, but I feel like lots of those guys are going to be young. Like I'm going to try to win the mile. I feel like that's the event that I have the best chance at winning. So I'll aim to win that.
Wow. If you ran a mile like tomorrow, which it sounds like you're going to do a dry run, what's your mile time?
Tomorrow, I bet I'll run like upper 5:30s.
Good Lord.
I haven't been training hard for it. Like my best time in the miles is 4:59.
450. Oh my goodness, dude. You're the type of guy that like I'm feeling pretty good about myself because I'm faster and stronger than the people around me. And then I meet you and I'm like, damn it.
I'm good at a few things, but not all of them.
Well, that sounds like you're good at a hell of a lot of things. So let's go into the conversation, right? So I've followed you now on Instagram. The whole like alpha dad thing caught me. I absolutely love it. And I've probably been a follower and a fan for give or take a year, maybe a year and a half. And I always see your stuff, always love it. And then I reached out to you, feels like maybe a couple weeks ago, and asked you to come on. And you said yes. And thank you for saying yes. And the reason I reached out to you is because a really good friend of mine, Anthony Taylor, shout out to Anthony. I know he's going to be listening to this and he's a big fan of yours. He sent me one of your posts. He actually sent me a picture of it. And I'm going to read it to you. All right. And then I've got a super simple high level question for you. The post was this from you, Ben Barker Fitness. If you have a church family, access to a gym, a smoking hot spouse, let's go, and kids to raise, you're already rich. Act like it. What do you mean by that?
Number one, shout out to Anthony. Anthony, I appreciate you, bro. I'd love to chat sometime. Two, I think a lot of guys nail it in one area and not the others. If you're very fit, but you don't have community, you're not going to go very far. If you're not still pursuing your wife, but you're very fit, like you're not winning. You know what I'm saying? If you're not present with your kids and you're making a lot of money, you're not winning. However, if you're striving to provide well for your family, you're pursuing your wife, you're connected with your local church, and you've got a high level of fitness, you're being intentional and spending time with your kids, like that's wealth right there.
Well said. The reason it hit me, and I literally probably 30 seconds between reading it and DMing you, is I struggle with something underneath that, which because the way you put it was you're already rich, which is it almost feels like you're speaking to people like, hey, look around you and be grateful. Like I heard a message of gratitude there, but I personally get so caught up in the day to day that I feel like something's missing. I'm pursuing, and there's this uneasiness. The way you laid it out, it just made me actually, for a moment, in the busyness of life, like kind of look around and be like, wait a minute, I have it all already. Why does it feel like I don't? Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%, dude. Because I think you see, I love the post that kind of goes around on social media where it'll be like kind of like the thoughts going through a dad's head where it's like, I'm not providing as well as I should be, but I'm also not spending enough time with my kids. I'm letting my fitness slip. Because I think there's a lot of guys, and I feel like you and I are probably cut from the same cloth. Like I'm very driven and I want to be as good as I can possibly be at whatever I'm currently doing. And I think the danger, like one, that's a great place to be, but I think it's also dangerous because sometimes we're not present with where we are. We're at home with our family and we're thinking about like something that we need to do at work or trying to spend time with your wife. And you're also thinking, boy, I'm not spending enough time with the kids. And it's just this constant battle that we're wrestling with. And then we kind of miss out on how good it actually is.
with social media, right? We both have podcasts. You have a much bigger platform on social media. In my own personal experience, since I've kind of quote unquote had to, because that's how I viewed it initially. Like if I'm going to grow my show, I need to be promoting it. But how do you turn that beast off? The social media piece, maybe even broader speaking, just technology in general. How do you personally manage that tension between being plugged in and then being, out, completely out, so you can be present?
It is a battle because I also have a 9 to 5 job as well, and on top of everything I do online, and it's a struggle because I'm always accessible through my phone. And something that my wife, boy, this is again, shout out to our wives, man. If you're a young guy listening and you're not married yet, other than Jesus, your wife is the most important decision that you'll ever make in your entire life. And my wife addressed it because I just like, if I have a dead moment, like say I'm hanging out with my family, but for whatever reason, like everybody's kind of doing something different for a minute, like I'm going to hop on my phone and I'm going to work. Like I'm not a scroller. I really don't get on social media and scroll. Like I'm going to like create a piece of content, like promote something, respond to messages. And my wife was like, hey, she was like, there needs to be time in the day when it's no go, whether it be like 2 hours, hour and a half, whatever, that it's like, even if we're just chilling on the couch and we're watching TV, your phone like needs to be somewhere else during that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard once you do that. This will be telling, but my wife and I this past Christmas, we said, let's get each other one present. Let's just chill out, back off. We have 3 kids, so we got to spend a lot of money on their presents. And the one present she got me was this device called Brick. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So that's the one present. So what do you think my wife's telling me? Right.
Right.
Here you go. So we've been using it for a couple months now. It's helpful. It's just another tool to help with discipline, but
right. No, I think that's great, man. That's the beauty about, I saw a post recently, Jesse, that said something about like, it could be in regard to a spouse or a friend, but it's like, when somebody's holding you accountable, like it hurts. And so it's like, man, that person's coming after me. Like what a jerk. But it's like when that's a real friend or a loving spouse that's willing to actually hold you accountable and sometimes say something that might hurt a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't hurt. I just looked there and said, okay, valid. Touche.
Well played.
Well played. We're going to get into some practical stuff in just a bit. I'm going to pick that brain for my audience benefit, but I just want to ask you your why. So you just mentioned, I didn't know you have a 9 to 5. So do I. Clearly, you have a heart specifically for helping men. But like, why did you decide to jump into it and do what you're doing and build the platform that you have?
Man, initially it was 100% selfish, and there was a time when I was pretty competitive, like in the CrossFit world. And I had a buddy who was like, hey, man, he's like, there's this thing called Instagram. And if you start posting on it, people will send you free stuff and you can get sponsorships. And I was like, let's go.
There you go.
And so I legitimately just started for that. And then kind of like a lot of people, I started gaining a little traction like during COVID. And at a point, I realized it was 100% about me. And I felt convicted about it was just me. And it's, and to a degree on social media, sometimes it still is, but at a point, just thinking about men as a whole in America, a lot of apathy and a lot of kind of wandering through life. And at a point I realized I wasn't posting about my faith at all. And that was a problem. And I felt convicted, and I was like, man, whether it makes it all crash and burn and I lose my following, I'm going to post about Jesus and about being a man of God and a family man, and fitness ties into all of that. And so I just decided to start doing that. And if it burnt to the ground, that'd be fine.
Look at you. I mean, literally that's a leap of faith, right? The Spirit convicted you and then you move in that direction. Good on you. That's a risk. You took a risk.
Thank you.
You're inspiring me, honestly, in the moment.
Let's go.
Actually, one more kind of broader question. I'm curious to learn this. So you coach, you do one-on-one coaching, right? For dads, like fitness and stuff like that. If you had to kind of try to summarize, or maybe pick a theme of like what you learn about these, is it mostly men, I assume?
Yep, all men.
Yeah. What's like a commonality or a common theme that you learn about them? Like, what are they looking for? What are they missing?
2 things that I notice, like when I reach out a group on Facebook and when guys join, I'll ask them kind of like what they're shooting for. and stuff. And I feel like most people are getting lost in the weeds. It's like they don't know what to do in the gym and they don't know what to do as far as macros. There's so much information on the internet. Guys end up getting like paralysis by analysis. And so they get bogged down by all of the different options out there that they do nothing.
Right. So they're kind of stuck. It's like overwhelmed.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Do you, when you're meeting with your clients and coaching them, if you feel like they're open to it, do you layer in like faith and lifestyle and things like that as well?
100%.
So they're not just getting more fit, they're becoming a better person.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I love it. You mentioned people get stuck in the weeds. So let's move to some practical stuff. So we'll start with, I've got a couple buckets here: nutrition, training, and I'll call the last one lifestyle. Let's start with training. I think that's what people love to kind of sink their teeth into. So I do understand, my preface is this: I do understand that it's very hard to prescribe one training program for everybody. Age, time constraints, injuries, all that stuff. But I'm going to make you try. So if you had to, I'll create a brief profile here. You got a guy, busy, job, kids, pressures, whatever, limited on time, but has enough time to make a difference with his fitness. Let's start with like, what is like a go-to training program that we can unpack that can work for most people?
3 day per week, full body workout.
Okay.
And let me also state this as well. I hate full body workouts, Jesse. I do not enjoy them, but I've found like currently I'm also training jujitsu, and the amount of volume I was doing when I wasn't doing full body was a problem with jujitsu. And then I think for the average dad out there, and there's gonna be different guys out there who are outliers who this won't apply to, but just for the average man out there has a full-time job and a family, full body workouts just make sense.
Okay. Side question: when did you start jujitsu?
About 6 or 7 months ago.
Oh, so you're new. Okay. So let me guess, like 3-stripe white belt?
I don't even, so I'm doing no gi.
Oh, so, okay. More like, okay.
Belt has never even been a conversation. I'm 100% still a white belt. I can tell you that.
I got it. I've done BJJ for quite a bit. So you're doing more like MMA grappling and no-gi jiu-jitsu. It's a whole different animal. How's it going? 7 months. That's brutal, isn't it?
It's good, man. When I get into stuff, I really get into it. And it's like, I'm starting like, when am I going to compete? And so I've had to really like dial it back and just realize that for me, jiu-jitsu isn't going to be my main thing. But I found that for me, I fall into the lone wolf category where like I'm working really, really hard and I'll just put my head down. I'll work out by myself. I'm bad about making time for friends and stuff like that. It's like me, my wife, my kids, and making money. And so for me, I've been talking about how important it is for men to have community. And I found that jiu-jitsu was a great way for me to get that.
Yeah. You were probably getting it back in the CrossFit days too, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Are you finding that? Because I found my strength when I started doing jiu-jitsu, it had some benefits unless I was rolling with like, advanced purple belts and stuff. But are you finding that your strength is is blessing you as you do jiu-jitsu?
100%. And people who are like just real hard in jiu-jitsu will kind of talk smack about people who are strong, but 100% favors me. And like, hear me out. I'm not out there just like submitting a bunch of guys left and right. But if somebody's going to submit me, they have to work really, really hard for it.
Yeah, I hear you. Are you familiar with Jason Khalipa by any chance?
Yeah. I was on his podcast recently.
Yeah, he came on my show too.
Sick.
Yeah, he came on and I asked him a similar question because that dude has been doing jujitsu and look at that. And I asked him, he's like, oh yeah, I crush people if they're like white belts. But it's like as soon as you get up into the the upper echelons, it's a little tougher. But that's cool. So let's get back to the full body training split. I also don't like them, by the way. I don't know what it is about it. I just don't like them. But if you're pressed for time, I can see how they're super, super efficient. Break down, if you could, for me, let's get a little more granular. All right. So is it a similar workout 3 times a week, or do you mix it up? Unpack it for me.
Almost like the same structure throughout the week, but with different movements. And I almost split it up. Think like powerlifting day, hypertrophy day, and then more of like an athletic day, if that makes sense, right? Say Monday is going to be more like, and each day I would start with 2 to 3 compound exercises, right? So for instance, say Monday is going to be heavy back squats, 5 sets of 3, and then maybe weighted chin-ups, 5 sets of 5, and then maybe like RDLs, 3 sets of 5, something like that. And then following that, I would go into like my assistance exercise. So say things like lateral raises, single arm rows, hamstring curls. And then after that, I would go into like vanity work, I would call it, right? So like bicep curls, tricep extensions, calf raises.
I'm tracking pretty close to there. So in that setup there, you're hitting most muscle groups at least 2 times within that workout, the way you just
Correct.
structured that, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you're starting heavy and then kind of bringing in the vanity stuff. I've never heard that, but I like it. The bro stuff, as some might say. That's cool. Bring me through the next one then. So
Okay.
say Wednesday. I'm assuming it's like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yep. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so then if Wednesday is more of like a hypertrophy day, and just to go ahead and get it out there, if anybody's really in the weeds on like hypertrophy, like muscle growth, right? Used to, it was always 6 to 12 reps per exercise if we were looking for hypertrophy. Now they're saying like anything between 5 and 30 reps, if you train close to failure on your last set, right, can induce hypertrophy. I don't get that far in the weeds. I still stick mainly, if I'm aiming for hypertrophy, getting bigger, 8 to 12 reps, right? And so Wednesdays is going to be something like 3 sets of 12 on front squats. Then I would go to like bent rows, 3 sets of 12, and then maybe like a single leg RDL, 3 sets of 8 to 12 per leg, and then kind of a similar structure again on that day for like my delt work. I might do like 3 sets of 12 on an Arnold press, upright rows, 3 sets of 12. And then I would go in again to like my vanity work, right? Higher rep for like preacher curls, skull crushers, seated calf raises.
Love it. And for the sake of time, are you mixing in supersets?
Yes.
Yeah.
I superset as much as I possibly can, with the exception of my compound lifts at the beginning. I like for like the heavy work, I like to do that, take like my 90 seconds of rest, and then just hit those in the strength portion.
I love it. So upper body 3 times a week. Day one, I'm going to call it like strength, power, lower reps, still some vanity stuff. I still love that. Coming back around Wednesday, more hypertrophy focused muscle growth, similar movement patterns, different reps ranges. Talk me through the third day. So this would be Friday, more mobility, explosives, plyos, I assume. What's that day look like?
Yeah. So still going to lift, but I would start the workout out with like form running was what we would call it when I was in college, like leg swings, then like A skips, B skips, C skips, right? It's kind of like ballistic technical form running essentially, right? And then I would do like 5 to 8 40-yard sprints, and I'll get those done anywhere. If you're like, Ben, I can't get to a track, like I typically do mine on my street, and I'm just that crazy guy out there running sprints up my hilly street, right? And then I would go in the garage and I would do more of like a speed squat. So like a box squat, and I'll vary it up depending on how much time I have. Like ideally I would do 8 sets of 3 with rubber bands or chains. And just to get real technical real fast for anybody out there, I have 50% of my 1 rep max on the barbell and 25% of my 1 rep max in chains or bands.
Tracking. Okay.
And the goal is to move it as fast as possible.
And do you find that carries over to your strength and hypertrophy days when you train for power and speed?
Big time. And if you're new to using chains or bands, I would err more on the side of, is the bar moving fast? Because some guys will hear percentages and like, oh, I've got to do it exactly. But if the bar is moving slow, you're defeating the purpose that day. So I'd rather see people go lighter and move the bar quick than try to hit that exact percentage and move it slow, if that makes sense.
It does. And have you been focused on that third day training for that for a while now? Or is that like a new kind of...
I would say newish.
Yeah.
I've sprinkled that in. I used to follow real closely to West Side Barbell, where it'd be, 2 dynamic effort days, 2 maximal effort days per week. And that's probably how I enjoy training the most. It's just currently with jujitsu and everything I'm doing, the full body workouts are making more sense.
Okay. So let's just say 8 or so months ago before you jumped into BJJ, were you doing 3 full body workouts a week, or were you doing something else?
Before jujitsu, I was doing basically like upper lower Monday, Tuesday, upper lower Thursday, Friday.
Okay. And how would those uppers and lowers respectively be different? The first one and the second one in the week?
Almost similar. I was pretty much doing like the maximal effort day, like building to a heavy single on something. And then the dynamic days, something like 5x5 with a little bit lighter weight. and almost following that same structure with your compound exercises first, 2 to 3 of those, kind of like your assistance exercises in the middle. And then third would be vanity work.
Vanity. Love it. Okay. And what say you about cardio? How would you layer cardio over the 3 times per week full body? And then maybe even the one you just laid out, upper lower, rest,
Yep.
upper lower.
So for a long time, all I've done for cardio is sprinting 1 day per week. That was just one thing that I've refused to let go. And so hell or high water, every single week, I'm going to run sprints. I've always hated on people that talk about walking and get in your steps. I just like, I got tired of it. But fellas, hear me out. Big part about fitness or any of it is learning as we go. And I think there's probably a little more to it than I've given it credit. And so something that I've started doing, like my family is big. We've always been big on taking like 2 to 3 family walks per week. No phones, just getting out as a family. And so I got a rucksack, right? Like one of those 30-pound rucksacks. And I've been wearing that when we go on family walks. And I find it very beneficial. And it's been a good way for me to get in a little bit of extra like steady state cardio.
Love that. What's it feel like? What did you notice maybe the first couple walks when you strapped that thing on?
Biggest, it hurt. But honestly, it makes me more aware of my posture, right? When I'm walking, of like pulling my shoulders back. Guys, if you're looking at your phones and your laptops all day, they call it tech neck, where your head is jutted forward. And so when I'm wearing that weighted backpack, I'm very focused on keeping my shoulder blades retracted and my neck neutral.
Got it. These days, I am super busy and on the go, and I place a huge emphasis on quality and convenience with every single product that I use, and it is no different for my own grooming products. I need stuff that works, looks great, and holds throughout the day, which is exactly why I've been using Based Texture Essentials, their texture powder and sea salt spray. It takes me all of about 30 seconds. And here's the key. It does not look like I'm trying too hard. I want to look like I care without looking like I care. It's plant-based, no harsh sulfates, because I'm putting this on my head every single day. I actually care what's in it. If you are looking to simplify your grooming routine, check out basedbodyworks.com. You can use code word Stronger Weekly for 20% off. And when you order now, one of these sets, you get a free toiletry bag. That's code Stronger Weekly for 20% off all Based products. And let's get back into this conversation, Ben. What about, it's a big buzzword right now, intentional zone 2, because I found I focus on walks, but to get my heart rate up to a zone 2, I have to be moving fast and challenging myself. What say you about zone 2 in general?
I also, something I know I've been slacking on. I find it's important. I don't know the exact number yet. If some guy was like, Ben, I don't have a lot of time, I would tell them 100% prioritize strength training, right? Maintain your muscle mass. And then I heard something yesterday on the Diary of a CEO.
Yep.
That currently in culture, it's almost like people are inactive completely outside of their workouts, right? So we go get in our hour of strength training and then sit for the other 23 hours of the day.
Yeah.
Which is also unhealthy.
Yeah.
So my baseline advice for everybody when it is regarding cardio and strength training, and Ben, I don't have enough time, is strength train a minimum of 3 days per week. And then outside of that, be as active as humanly possible.
Love that.
Walk as much as you can, park away from the grocery store, go on walks with your wife and kids, play tag with your kids, get out in the backyard, throw the football, kick the soccer ball. So strength train and be as active as humanly possible.
Yeah, I love that. Have you familiar with the name DJ Shipley by any chance?
I'm not.
He's a Navy SEAL. You should look him up. He's kind of blown up in the social media world, but he says that what's been a game changer for both his relationship with his spouse and also his fitness is 3 times a day. And I know that might sound like a commitment, but he and his spouse, his wife, will go on a 20-minute walk, the two of them. And he goes, basically, it doesn't matter. Just set a timer, walk 10 minutes in one direction. And he says for the first 10 minutes, it's one of the spouses, like time to just talk, and then turn around and go back the other way. And it's the other one's turn, so that like you're listening and you have a structure. And he just swears by that being like a huge difference maker in his marriage. So I haven't implemented that yet, but it's on my 2026 goals. I'll say that much. But he gets his steps in and he gets some marital time, which is freaking awesome. Sounds like you're doing something similar.
Yeah, I love that, but I never do it solo with my wife. And married guys who are listening, like something my wife has voiced to me recently is like, is my full attention. And even like my phone is up, but it's like the kids will just straight up interrupt my wife when she's talking and I will address them real quick. And something like, I don't know how everybody else feels about this, but my wife is number one. I love my kids. I would die for my kids, but my wife is number one, and that relationship is first. And so I've just started straight up being like, if they ask me for something while my wife's lips are moving, I just straight up hold up my finger
Love
and I
that.
let my wife finish. I acknowledge her, and then I will address them because I'm bad about, I can only focus on one thing. And if I start addressing them, I break my focus on my wife. And so I've had to really work on that.
Well, that's biblical, right? Jesus, spouse, kids, everything else. I mean,
Amen.
that's the truth. Sprints, you love them. In either one of those splits, so 3 days, you're hitting legs 3 times a week and an upper lower. When do you work your sprints in so that, because that's pretty taxing on your lower body. How have you historically, maybe pre-jujitsu, what's the right timing of programming your sprints into your training?
So when I was doing upper lower, on Wednesdays, I was running sprints. And that's all I was doing on Wednesdays. I would just go out. And so it wasn't a perfect system because in that system, I was training legs on Tuesday and then doing sprints on Wednesday, which was not ideal. And so I found that that's one thing I like about the full body split is that, you know, I train legs on Wednesday, I rest on Thursday, and then I run sprints on Friday. And sometimes for me, the days change just based on what I have available. But I kind of dial back all of the leg lifts on that day subtly. And that way I can give my full focus to hitting the sprints prior to the workout.
Got it. Got it. Sprints, quick aside, guess this will be fun. Guess how old I am, by the way. Don't insult me.
35.
Oh, I love you. I'm 41.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Good for you, bro.
Thank you, dude. I tore my calf muscle sprinting last year, and I did lower body training, and then the next day I hit some sprints. That's underneath that question. I was like, whoa, like you got to be careful, but you young bucks can get away with more than I can. All right, man, let's pivot to nutrition. You mentioned macros earlier. It sounds like that's what a lot of guys are looking for guidance on, but even broader, similar question. If you had to recommend a nutritional lifestyle that works, what would you recommend to your clients?
Don't get too far in the weeds. If you track anything at all, track your protein and your calories and your water. I'm big on guys will get scared when you say do a gram of protein per pound of body weight. One, will acknowledge I'm not a registered dietitian. So just disclaimer there. Two, say you weigh 300 pounds and your goal is to get to 225. I would base your protein on your goal body weight. So if you've got a bunch of weight to lose, base a gram per pound of goal body weight. So if your goal body weight's 225, you'd be shooting for 225 grams of protein per day. Honestly, most important, if you're tracking for weight loss, calories comes first, protein comes second. So if you're trying to lose weight, calories are number one. People don't like to track, but the numbers don't lie. And if you're really trying to lose weight, use a scale. Like be that guy for a little bit, eat out less, just eat at home because you'll probably embarrass your wife if you start weighing your food at the restaurant. So it just makes it easier and cheaper if you eat at home. And one of the things is track it for like a month, every single day, your protein intake and your calories. And eventually you'll be able to kind of eyeball it a little bit. And now I'm to the point where I don't track every single day because I eat pretty similar almost every day. So I know. And if there's a day where I'm like, boy, I have not done well today, I'll track in my app and then I'll fix it. You know, like if I need to have a protein shake or Greek yogurt or whatever before I go to bed, that way I hit my goal for the day.
Tracking. Okay. I'm going to use round numbers here for my marine brain to be able to follow.
I'm ready.
But if somebody, I'm going to back into the question here, but if somebody, for whatever reason, had a goal of 3,000 calories a day, and that goal was leading them to 200 pounds, and they were having their 200 grams of protein, if I'm not mistaken, that's 4 calories per gram. So we're at 800 calories. Am I right so far?
Yep, you are.
All right, so we're at 800 calories on a goal of 3,000. Now, if I forced you, Ben Barker, to say, okay, that you have in that scenario 2,200 calories left, and they got to come from carbs and fats, what percentage would you, if I had to make you recommend, like what would you focus more or less on, the fats or the carbs to get to that goal?
It will depend slightly on also like your performance goal. If you're doing anything that requires some type of performance, I err toward the side of carbs. With that being said, if we're talking about like hormones and stuff like that, fat plays a role 100%. So if we're talking like testosterone, all of that, like you need healthy fats. Bear that in mind. I've seen it done 100 different ways. Like I literally though, Jesse, when I put in my calories, I literally, it's like I hit my protein goal. And then some days I'm much higher in fat, lower in carbs. Some days I'm much higher in carbs, lower in fat. And at the end of the day, it's fine. As long as I'm hitting my protein and my calories, it all shakes out.
So you've seen no discernible difference in performance or aesthetics and body fat, what you do with those carbs and fats, as long as you get your protein.
I would say aesthetically, no difference. Performance wise, yes. Like
Okay.
if a day like I've got a real tough workout, if I really prioritize having some carbs pre-workout and carbs post-workout, one, I have a better workout, and two, I feel I recover faster.
Got it. Are you a morning training guy, midday, late afternoon? What's your preference?
Right now, I'm an opportunist, and I get it whenever I can.
Survivalist.
Ideally, I love a mid-morning workout. I am a morning person, but I like to get up and I get in my Bible first and drink my coffee. And following that, I love to like knock out some work for like an hour or two. And then like mid-morning, that for me, that's the dream.
Bro, that's the 10th thing that we have identically in common right now. That is the exact same daily thing for me. I throw in a cold plunge, but then I find that my brain and my mind is so active in the morning before the kids wake up. So I'll knock out like an hour and a half of work, 2 hours, get the kids off to the bus with a pre-workout, and then just get to the gym. And it's just like, it's perfect, man. It's absolutely perfect. I always group supplements into nutrition. Maybe just we'll keep it high level, but if you had to recommend supplements, are you more of a minimalist or do you have a pantry that's just full of all sorts of craziness?
I use 4 supplements.
Okay.
I would say I have 2 that are a must. Creatine is number 1. It's cheap, it's inexpensive, and it works. If you've never taken it, start with 5 grams. If you've been taking 5 grams for a really, really long time, I would encourage you to do a little research on taking more. I recently bumped it to 10 grams, and I'm even hearing things about 15 to 20, which I feel like I don't know. But there's so many, it used to be all about strength and power, ATP, all of that. But they're saying now there's a lot of cognitive benefits as we age. And when you get over 10 grams is when you start seeing those benefits.
Got it. What do you weigh, Ben?
I weigh 180 pounds.
Okay. And do you think weight should guide if people do research like the grams of creatine, or is it just like find your comfort level?
This is assumption.
Yeah.
I'm assuming weight would make a difference. So like, for instance, my brother's a beast in jujitsu, but he's 6'4", probably like 275. I'm 5'9", 180. You know, I would have to assume that his body could use more than mine.
Yeah. I would assume the same thing. What's the next one? You said creatine?
Second for me would be whey protein. And this is purely convenience. A lot, if you eat a very high protein diet, like eggs, Greek yogurt, you know, lean chicken, lean beef, and all that, you can 100% get enough protein. I will say this, post-workout whey protein, if you look at like what's most like bioavailable and like what your body will digest the fastest, whey protein is it. And so for me, it's convenience. I can get it in quick and get it done, and I don't really have to think about it. And then third, I take like a multivitamin pack. So this is kind of cheating, but it's got, you know, zinc, magnesium, fish oil, CoQ10, things like that. And so I feel like it just kind of hits a lot of nails on the head for me.
Got it. And pre-workout wise, you just rolling with that coffee?
Just the black coffee.
Look at you. Double espresso or coffee?
Man, I make a pour over
Okay.
every day, and I like really nice. I literally have 2 cups of coffee a day. And just to get it out there for any of you, like I struggle with sleep hard, Jesse. And so a few years ago, I was drinking coffee and taking pre-workout, and like the wheels were about to fall off. And so I had to cut out pre-workout so I could keep my coffee.
I got it, man. Got it. Let's be honest, most of us don't have a private gym, a full-time trainer, or hours every day to lift. If you're like me, you don't even have time to commute to a local gym. You're training early in the morning or carving out 40 minutes between work, kids, and everything else competing for your time. And when fitness matters that much to your well-being and your health, you've got to have home fitness equipment that's as strong and reliable as you are. That is exactly why I use Rep Fitness. Rep is built for people who train with purpose, people who need high-quality, reliable equipment engineered for real strength. Designed right here in Colorado, USA, Rep Fitness provides racks, benches, bars, and plates that offer commercial-grade durability without commercial gym prices. Premium materials, smart engineering, and fair pricing. Whether you're outfitting your very first garage gym or upgrading your current setup to match where you want to go with your training, Rep makes gear that keeps up with your life and your goals. Visit repfitness.com to see their full lineup. Racks, benches, bars, plates, conditioning tools, and everything you need to build a home gym that works as hard as you do. That's repfitness.com. All right, man. One more question on kind of like the practical stuff. I'm going to call it lifestyle guidance, right? Because there's so many different things to talk about that, as you mentioned earlier, you beautifully put, like, we focus a lot of our energy and our time on what happens within the workout, but most of life happens outside of it. Let's kind of borrow that framework and just talk about like lifestyle things. So I'm going to throw out buzzwords just to really hammer the question down, but you got, fitness trackers, wearables, longevity, health spans, saunas, cold plunges. There's so much stuff that people have to think about. What other, if you had to, what other recommendations would you give to people whose goal is to be more fit, manage stress better, and be able to also be present with their family? I'll throw that in there.
Okay.
What other lifestyle guidance you got?
Two things. I think all men should purposely choose something that you don't look forward to and do it regularly. It's basically called manufactured discomfort. You think about a long time ago, people were dealing daily with like survival, like wild animals, enemy clans. And if you live in America, like it's very cushy and men get soft. I think it's very important that you manufacture that discomfort somehow, whether through a workout, a run, cold plunging, or sauna. And I heard recently, as far as longevity goes, it needs to be something that you don't look forward to, because there's something in your mind, it flips a switch. So like if you love the cold plunge, like you genuinely enjoy getting in, that's not it for you. It's a struggle for me every time I get in the cold plunge. And so I think it scratches that itch. Maybe for you, like you literally hate running. You have to force yourself to do it. That might be it for you. So I think every man needs to choose something that's intentionally something that you don't love and force yourself to do it with some sort of regularity.
I love that. Since you brought up cold plunging, you have one,
yeah,
I assume.
I do.
What's your protocol? How often? How long when you're in it? And what's the temperature?
So Andrew Huberman talks about 11 minutes per week. Doesn't matter how you get it done. For me, I found like my days vary so much, like when I have to start and all of that. And so I found for me twice per week, and I do 5.5 minutes. It's awful.
Oof. What temperature?
Yeah. I keep it set at 35. Sometimes it's running a little, so it's between 35 and 38, depending on when I get in.
No, thank you. Dude, you're humbling me, right? So you weigh 180. I weigh 187 this morning. You bench more than me. You run faster than me. You cold plunge colder and longer. What else could I say? No, I got to tell you, Matt. So I cold plunge 3 or 4 times a week. I also follow the Huberman kind of advice to get to that time. I hate it every time. It doesn't get easier, because when it gets easier, I can just make it colder or stay in longer. And when I know that I'm going to cold plunge the next morning, like last night, I'm already thinking like, damn it, like I have to do this. And it's weird. It's my own study on myself. It's anecdotal, but I found that since I started cold plunging, I do fartlek runs, interval runs to try to get into like zone 5. Dude, I have found that like when I have to suffer through a 3 or 4 minute hard interval running, I get through it better, because it just rings similar and like true to when I have to like power through a cold plunge. Have you found that too?
Oh, 100%. It makes everything else easier.
100%. Yeah. And I can just control my nervous system a little better. Like I have a big presentation at work. Everything just feels easier from cold plunging. Isn't that crazy?
And two, it's like a lot of people argue now about the various benefits that it does or does not have. But fellas, if we're just talking about purely for the grit, purely for the grit, it's worth it.
One more thing on cold plunges, and then we're going to move to like a rapid fire section. Unless you have other lifestyle stuff. Interesting, again, anecdotal. I've been very you're just getting to know me, but part of my story is I've struggled with alcohol use disorder, especially when I became like a busy dad professional. I started turning to alcohol just to help kind of like cope with stress and stuff, and I got ahead of that. But what I found is if I'm having a day where I have like kind of like brain fog, I'm still ruminating on things, I just feel a little bit stressed. I found that if I move my cold plunge to the period between around like 4 or 5 o'clock or right before I got to put my dad hat on, the way it centers my focus and kind of like my whole nervous system kind of shifts. I found that doing it at night before dad time, when that chaos starts, has been super, super helpful to help me avoid turning to other things to try to manage my stress. And it's just so cool.
I love that.
Yeah. People don't talk about that. Anything else on lifestyle before we move towards a kind of rapid fire question?
Right before the rapid fire, only other lifestyle thing I would add is just include your family. Like any opportunity you get to include your wife and your kids in your fitness, like going to the track, and they can do like a smaller version of the workout. When you go do hill sprints, take them with you. Just include them here and there. And it's a great way to spend time together to make it a family event and everybody get fit together.
Yeah, Ben, I've heard on your own show, the name of your podcast again, I think it's Fit Fathers Fellowship.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. I listened to one of your episodes and you talked about also the importance of doing fitness in front of your kids as you're modeling it for them, right? I love that. All right, man. So rapid fire stuff here. I'm going to fire a question at you and just give me your best version of a concise answer. It's going to be fun. All right. So let's do it, man. All right. So current favorite exercise that most people underrate.
Sprints.
All right, give me another one.
Another one, weighted chin-ups.
Weighted chin-ups. All right, real quick, why sprints and why weighted chin-ups?
Sprints because they aid in fat loss, they help build muscle mass, they build your cardio. If you do them outside with your shirt off, it helps get vitamin D. It's just like a win-win. And then weighted chin-ups, it's sometimes as dads, you need those exercise that kill a couple birds with one stone. Great way to build the back, great way to build the biceps. And if you're a lighter guy like me, like I can do lots of pull-ups. By doing them weighted, it makes it more time effective, essentially.
Love it. Cool. Next one. I think I know the answer to this already. What is better, home, or for you, I'll say garage, home garage workouts or public gym workouts?
Garage workouts, 1000%. With one caveat, because people know I'm a liar. Like I actually enjoy going to a commercial gym. And so I keep a membership just so I can go like once a week and use some of the fun equipment that I don't have at home.
To another commonality. My lower day is at a public gym because I like the glute thrusters and all the crazy stuff they have. So, okay. All right. Like it. Sort of answered this already, but I want to ask it again. Morning person or night person, and has fatherhood changed that?
Fatherhood is, so I'm technically a morning guy. I do not sleep enough. I probably average 6 hours of sleep a night. That's just me though. And I found that I can function on that. And that's how I still get up early and then still spend time with my wife after the kids go to bed.
We'll see when 4-0 rolls around if you still have that energy, young buck.
Right.
But is that 6 hours in bed or 6 hours of actual sleep?
Probably 6 hours in bed.
Do you wear a sleep tracker?
I don't.
You would have known that answer much quicker if you did. It's probably 6. So you're probably getting like 5.
Probably so. Probably so.
Yeah. Well, good on you, man. All right. Love this one. One book that every dad should read.
12 Pillars by Jim Rohn.
What's that about?
It's very difficult to find. I'm a bad reader, and so I have to kind of force myself. And lots of self-help books are more like just very tactical, like number one, number two. This book is told in like story mode, and it's basically like 12 pillars on like how to build a impactful life. And it's things like, maintaining a healthy body, having a relationship with Jesus, impacting others, giving back to the community, public speaking, like things of that nature. And I think it's one like every parent's like, you should have your kids read that one and every man should read it.
Give me that title and author again.
It's 12 Pillars, Jim Rohn, Rohn.
Do you think it'd be a cool idea if I added that to the episode description for people listening to check it out?
Yeah, definitely. It's actually really difficult to find, but it's out there and you can find it.
Okay, roger that. You didn't ask me, but I'll give you mine anyway. I'm not supposed to do that, but Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. Probably the one game changer book for me. Have you heard of that? Mere Christianity?
No, I'll have to read it.
That's one for you, C.S.
Deal.
Lewis. All right, last question. What is, if you had to choose, because I'm sure there's 179 answers, what is one thing your kids have taught you, Ben Barker?
It's all about quality time. And when I heard somebody once said, when your kids ask you to play with them, sometimes it's like kids don't know how to say, Dad, I'm stressed, or Dad, I have anxiety. It comes out as Dad, will you play with me? And then I started hearing it when they would ask me after I heard that. And I have a kid. It doesn't matter if I play with him, Jesse, for 2 hours a day, we'll rest for 5 minutes. And then he'll be like, Dad, will you play with me? And, boy, it's bigger than just playing with them. It's an emotional thing. And like one day they're not going to ask us ever again. Like sometime there's going to be like the last time your son's going to ask you to play with him, and then it's over. And so I've learned by them asking me and just trying to stop whatever I'm doing and play with them, even if it's for 15 minutes.
Great advice. Easier said than done, depending on what season your life in. But that's powerful, man. It really is. It's convicting on me as well. I'll be a better dad tonight because of that last answer.
Let's
go. Dude, I could talk to you for what feels like ever, and I hope we get the chance to do that again. But we are running up out of time. I know you have a hard stop. I'm going to close with, I think most people probably know how to find you because you have a pretty big platform. But if you could direct my audience, my listeners to find, follow, be inspired by you, where would you send them, Ben?
I'd go to Instagram at Ben Barker Fitness. And then I've got a link tree, with my podcast and like workout subscription and all that kind of stuff.
Cool. And I'll add on to that. I listened to your podcast. I think it's amazing. Fit Fathers Fellowship. You can get some great insights from Ben. Most episodes like 12 to 15 minutes, 20. Yep. So it's actionable stuff. Great podcast. I will link to all the places so people can find you. But this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Bro, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, Jesse.
All right. My pleasure. Ben Barker, everybody. All right, that's it for my conversation with Ben Barker, and what a conversation it was. I just kind of want to say this about Ben. There's too many fitness influencers out there in the world. And I got to be honest, 99.9% of them, I don't have any interest in talking to. There's a lot of self-centeredness out there. There's a lot of greed. There's a lot of selfishness, arrogance, disingenuous people selling you courses and these like high ticket coaching things. And Ben's different. He's not an influencer. He just happens to be someone who's influential. And I think it's more important for him to be influential in the areas that matter, like our faith and our family. Yes, fitness is a big foundation for us being healthy and happy, right? But Ben is really like the total package, and that's what matters to him. Obviously, he knows his stuff. He's knowledgeable around fitness and nutrition. He's an athlete, but the way he carries himself and what he cares about, I think is what makes him stand out there. So I hope him and I stay in touch over the years because he's just a great guy. Certainly hope you enjoyed the conversation with him. So one more time, if you want to find and follow Ben, that's at Ben Barker Fitness on Instagram. He's also got that YouTube channel and a podcast called the Fit Fathers Fellowship. I highly encourage you to check it out. Great stuff over there. You can be inspired by him, be informed, and if you want, you can even jump in his community, maybe even get some coaching directly from him, because I do know that he offers that. So big shout out and thanks to Ben for coming on the show. If you're listening, here at Stronger Weekly, we believe fitness should be free. So with that said, we are revamping our website right now. Who knows, by the time you're listening to this, you can check it out at strongerweekly.com. We've got tons of fitness programs, fitness information, content, ebooks around things like nutrition and training. We've got strength training programs, hypertrophy, all that stuff. And we give that away for free as a supplement to this show, because all we care about is that our listeners grow stronger every single week. So you can go to our website at strongerweekly.com. You can opt into our newsletter, give us your email. That's all we ask for, is for you to listen to us, give us your email so you can also get our newsletter every single week right in your inbox with the latest health and fitness headlines and content. And we're going to give that away to you. So if you sign up, get into the newsletter, we'll send you access to all those programs. And of course, you can always ask us questions, send us emails to contact@strongerweekly.com. You can hit us up on Instagram if you have any questions about fitness, training, whatever. We are here to help. If you found any value in today's episode, we'd love it, love it, love it if you can share it with somebody. You can even leave us a rating and review. Make sure you subscribe to our show wherever you find us, whether that's on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever. We're so grateful that you joined us. We hope that you learned something. You grew stronger this week. Thank you for investing your time to be here with us, and we will see you next time. So long, folks.